Welcome back. 31-year-old Akolade Arowole, who was standing trial for the murder of his late wife, Titilayo, was last Friday sentenced to death by hanging by Ikeja High Court. The court relied on the testimony of the forensic pathologist, Professor John Obafunwa, who testified that there were at least 76 stab wounds found on the body of the deceased. The presiding judge, Justice Latifat Okunu, in her judgment said, though there were no eyewitnesses to the incident, the circumstantial evidence adduced by the prosecution proved the murder charge against the convict was beyond all reasonable doubt. Now, what are your thoughts on this? It's your view, let it count. You can call us on 070-8066-8014. You can tweet to us at YourViewTVC. Before we come to the ladies, we're going to take a report on this issue.
It's the day of reckoning for Pastor Akolade Arowole. He's now been sentenced to death for killing his wife 3 years ago. The convict, holding tight to his Bible, broke down in tears shortly after the verdict. It was a moment the middle-aged convict least expected as he was marched into the prison van.
In the name of Jesus, yes, I am delivered. I cannot be condemned. I cannot die in prison. I did not do it, therefore I cannot be convicted of it. Jesus!
Arowole had tried to convince the court that his wife Titilayo killed herself during a scuffle between them in June 2011. A statement the trial judge, Justice Latifat Okunu, found as false. During her judgment, which lasted 3 hours, Justice Okunu relied largely on the autopsy report by Professor of Pathology John Obafunwa, which revealed that the deceased sustained 76 stab wounds. The injuries inflicted on the banker's eyes, chest and collarbone, according to the pathologist, were not self-inflicted. The court was also mindful of the testimonies of family of the deceased, which confirmed that the couple had often had quarrels. And after looking at the weight of the evidence against Arowole, she pronounced the death sentence. But his lawyers say they will appeal.
Would you be happy if you have a client of yours convicted in any way?
Interesting.
I saw his picture 2 years ago. He wasn't that fat, too.
I'm saying, I was going to mention that, like, the guy just beefed up. What happened? He was not in prison.
Yes, now. He was in Kirikiri. How did he become that fat in jail?
I'm saying, the guy must have eaten a lot of the guy. What did I get bread?
And now he has become a pastor.
Yes.
And then he wasn't a pastor. He wasn't a pastor before.
But you know, the
He's
funny
welcome,
thing,
Jerry.
the funny thing is that if he asks for forgiveness, God will forgive him. And
God has
I
forgiven
forgive
him.
He's actually, if there's no problem with being forgiven, but I always feel that there's a room to acknowledge the fact that you've committed a crime, you committed a sin, one way or the other. You admit that I committed this sin.
My question is, how did he expect that you tell the court that somebody stabbed themselves 76 times?
And they will believe it. He must have been fasting and
Even
praying.
one stab self.
Let's leave the circumstantial evidence and all that. I read it when it just happened. He left her dying in her own pool of blood and ran out of the house. And after a few days when she was found, he himself is now saying she killed herself. You saw her killing herself. Okay, let's just say, imagine now you're married and something is happening. The first person, you call your wife's people that, wow, sorry, your daughter is going mad and all that. You call people. You don't just lock her up in the house, run out like you did something wrong, and then you come back and say she killed herself.
Based on this, your talk, your wife is stabbing herself. She did it the first time. You didn't grab her hand and stop her. You, the stronger one.
You didn't get injured.
And you didn't want to
so you kept on staring at her.
You didn't want to get stabbed now. The one that stabbed me, I said, we stab her age. Stab me.
Why? What are you talking about?
I'm just saying.
Your daughter will handle a knife now. You won't grab her.
Mariah, there's been cases previously that they've been having issues, marital issues. They've been having issues of, okay, him beating her up, and then he was jobless at that point in time. Because I knew when it happened, he was out of work. He didn't have money. She was working with a bank, and she was earning well. And they kept thinking that she was sleeping around in her office to get promoted to do well.
Which is the usual assumption.
Suspect.
Once
So should the woman lose a job and put both of you on hunger strike because?
Well, that's way besides the point. And the point is that he's been convicted and they're going to kill him. Now the thing is, he was there speaking in tongues. What was the tongue supposed to help him to do? I don't understand.
He's reconciling with his Almighty.
He has 90 days now.
He has 90 days, right?
He has 90 days to appeal, and based on the evidence now,
since you're a lawyer, tell us.
He might get out of it.
You think so?
Are you serious? It's based on circumstantial evidence. It's a murder case. You know, there's this principle that it's better to release 90 guilty persons than to convict an innocent, kill an innocent person. So based on that, the court will be very careful. They're always very careful when it comes to murder cases.
But this first conviction,
it's an issue of life for life.
Yes.
They're always very careful. When it goes on appeal, there will be three justices on the panel, and most likely, he might get a life sentence.
For me, that makes more sense than death.
Death. I don't like
honestly,
death also.
I feel that he will suffer, he should suffer the repercussion.
If you were in the woman's family member's shoes,
you want
him to be
No, that is an easy way out now. He dies and goes. But life imprisonment with hard labor,
he might get out when there's a pardon.
Can he, even when he's on life?
Yes. Yeah. After 20 or 30
years. There's so many
it doesn't have to be up to 20 years. Wait,
but what I'm wondering is, this entire case was based on the autopsy report and all those. Didn't they see fingerprints? Didn't they check? Couldn't they?
Listen, so you're watching too many Hollywood movies.
Exactly.
The only reason why you can do fingerprints is if you have a database.
Exactly.
So if you don't have that database, if you don't fingerprinting, you can't even connect it. So
nobody can take his fingerprints and then cross-check with what they find on her body. And all that.
No, she was killed by stab wounds.
So
they'll just check to see whether she can.
Good morning, Amos. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning, madam.
Yes, sir. How are you? Thanks for calling.
Fine, thank you. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Is that not that guy that killed the wife at Isolo area?
Yes.
No, Isolo. Is Isolo?
Isolo.
Yes.
Yeah, Isolo area. You see, in all, to me, I had the incident immediately it happened. Then, for him to continue denying that he's not the one that killed the wife, I think he's deceiving himself. Yes. And went to the prison and saw this wife. He concluded that he's now born again. He's now a pastor. Understand? Judging from all this he has gone through, and now said he wants to. He is now a pastor. He's supposed to have summoned the courage, you understand?
To confess.
So I've concluded that now I'm born again. Even he has to confess his sin to God and, give up everything to conclude that he's now born again, you understand?
Thanks so much, Famous. Appreciate your call.
Nima.
Yes, you're going to say something.
Because she's a lawyer, she would have all the technicalities. If she's saying she stabbed herself. The autopsy report says that she couldn't have stabbed herself. The forensic says she couldn't have stabbed herself. So doesn't that mean that by omission, he's the one that did it?
As a lawyer, I can't see the court didn't do well.
That's the stab one. Look at the pictures. That's a bit graphic. I'm not sure why I'm showing this on TV because early morning, maybe we should take it off. Yes, go ahead.
Precedents that will follow precedents a lot in Nigeria. Precedents that if it was abroad where they could rely solely on such evidence, I would say that he won't get out of it. But in Nigeria, we have precedents to show that it could.
Hierarchy of the court. So if a higher court already let someone out based on this kind of evidence before, then they could let him out.
His lawyers would have seen that there's hope for him now, By now, they would have seen.
Let's take Kingsley's call. Good morning, Kings. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning, ladies.
Yes, sir. Thanks for calling.
How was your weekend?
Not bad. Go ahead.
Concerning the issue of the young man that they claim that killed his wife. To be honest with you, I was just going through some of those reports you guys just brought up now. Is it possible for that young man to stab the wife 76 times?
Yes, in anger.
Yes, in anger.
You understand? In anger, 76 times is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 76. And he will still be there, stabbing his wife 76 times. Okay, fine, you said there is an autopsy report. Is there no way somebody else can do that autopsy test again somewhere else, so that let's have, because when looking at the young man when he was coming out from the court, I mean, he's trying to prove to you that it's not possible. Apparently, not conclude. There might be.
But which is okay, Kingsley? Which is more believable?
That
the
she
woman stabbing herself
76 times,
or somebody else doing it? Which is more believable? Which do you think?
At times, if you watch the way murder case goes, there are more to it, to be honest with you. There might be an alibi.
He doesn't have one. He didn't
have an alibi.
He didn't have one.
There are no eyewitnesses, though.
He didn't have any.
But is there no way they can dig deep in this thing? I mean, they should go beyond that. Okay, fine, you're talking about the complaint. At least we have other biometrics taken in government places.
Yes.
Or let me say,
they just started that one recently. Okay, thank you very much, Kingsley. I appreciate your call. The point is, Kingsley is saying that because of his reaction outside the court, there's a possibility that he probably didn't kill his wife.
Of course, if you have been condemned to death, of course you will react anyhow. Scratch your head over the floor.
I'm sorry to say that I feel that the guy is staging it. You know, in court, if you witness certain trials, when the suspect is put in the box, you suddenly see a transformation.
You start acting
different from what you saw at the time of arrest. And then, at the time of arrest, this guy had a different persona than to what he has now.
Yes.
So you should be careful because of what you're seeing now. You should don't just.
But this, if for any reason they don't find this man guilty, if he goes to the appeal court, then he will get out of this thing scot-free, and there will be nobody found guilty for the murder of an innocent woman, obviously.
Then our justice system problem.
Does that happen?
So that's the question to you, Nima, then, because if you're saying that he has a chance in the appeal court where he might get a life sentence,
reduced sentence.
So the reduced sentence. Okay. So the person, so that doesn't mean that means he's still found guilty.
Yeah.
But he's been reduced.
Yeah.
Based on the evidence.
But he might even get out. Al-Mustafa, who was convicted for killing Kudirat Abiola.
That was a very political case anyway.
Yeah.
So
he got out, you know, and because he's the main suspect and he's gotten out, there's nobody to be held for that murder.
It. Let's take Edward's call. Good morning, Edward. Are you there?
Good morning.
Thanks for calling, sir. Go ahead.
I trying to have my contribution regarding the mother, his wife. It is unfortunate. I don't know what prolonged that man to do such a thing, your loved one. From friendship to marriage, have the kids, even say house. I don't know what man pursued that man to do such a thing. If actually it's true or no, I didn't actually do investigation truly. By saying that it's stabbed by herself, that prolonged that, which means is the one. Because how can your wife stab herself once and you are looking at her stab second time, third time to 6 times?
Yes.
So
thank you so much, Mr. Edward. Yes, I wanted to ask Nima a question. We'll come to some tweets now. You know, abroad, you can actually get to choose the kind of judge you want, because having a woman judge, there is a possibility that you will not. There's no way to be lenient with this kind of case.
You feel that
now, in other parts of the world, you can actually say you can actually choose.
You can in Nigeria. Yes, based on certain reasons. If you feel that you have an history with a judge and you know that that judge will be very sentimental in your case, you can write a letter to the chief judge.
Just Latifa, come on. I mean,
she's a very strict woman. Okay. And I respect her a lot. She's very strict. She doesn't bend rules, and you know she's very, very well grounded in law. Considering her precedent, so pedigree. So
okay, let's take some tweets and then we'll talk to Felicia very quickly.
CJ says if all investigations point to him, then justice is served. But a long prison term would have been better than a death sentence. Zach says that he should ask forgiveness and he should accept his judgment because it is obvious he's a killer. That's according to Zach.
Let's take Felicia's call. Good morning, Felicia. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, sir. Thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to commend you, especially you, for your efforts in building Nigeria. Concerning the case of this guy that we're told that murdered
his wife,
girlfriend or the wife. You see, our justice system, the way we do our investigation, anything can happen. When someone called him not quite long, he said 76. You know, it is a mad person too that can start 76 if he's really 76 times. Because me personally, I don't know them, but I don't believe that judgment. I'm telling you, a lot of things there should be a way they should investigate.
Okay. Thank you so much, Edward. You're right.
Yeah, there's a reality show on TV, not on the cable channel, one of the cable channels that talk about people that husbands murder their wives and all that, and some psychological trauma, and a man goes into rage. He's blinded. He's blind. He would not even know what he's doing. When he calls out, they don't realize that I've actually done this. Normal people don't do that. You're thinking you're normal. You're thinking as normal people that you can't do that. But this guy is not normal.
People are also looking at it as, I'm stabbing you 1, 2, 3, 7, 6. It could be
it's
2
not
stabs here,
struggle.
you struggle here, you go to stab here, then you know, it could be something that could have taken a whole, maybe almost 4 or 5 hours. You couldn't just be 7, 6 at one time. So it's really,
if there was an issue between the two of them, probably the wife is saying, okay, I know this about you, I'm going to say this. I'm going to tell this to people, and you'll be like, let me just let you know. You know, that's why power corrupts. You'll be like, let me just let you know that if you do this, I'll give you this. You know, and then a struggle starts, and she'll be like, and then at the end of the mind thing, after injuring her, knowing that she will bleed today, and if she's given the chance, she'll say something. You might just want to finish it up.
Finish it up, exactly.
So that's one. And then for Folusha, investigations have been concluded. Investigations is based on what they found, her body. They did autopsy on her.
Was that a murder weapon?
So there's,
they didn't see it.
I'm sure they won't see it.
Okay.
So you could have played that.
They said they found the knife. They found the knife that he used. I thought they said they found the knife.
Let's take a last call. I think this is our last call for this morning. Good morning, last call.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
According to what the judge has said, it's right. Have you ever seen a court guy in action before?
Yes.
That can stab over 100 times. The Lagos police, I was in Lagos police 2002, where a court guy struck, even to the extent of cutting his head down.
Yes.
So the guy can do it because once they're frustrated, there's nothing you can do. By saying your wife is sleeping around, get a promotion and office. It's frustrated. It's frustrated. And if such a thing happens, call the family, tell her to go or excuse her for a while. Rather than stabbing her to death. The autopsy is right because, yes, I've seen a situation like that. I was witness to it.
Thank you so much, Alastair. Now, would this serve as a deterrent to others? Do you think so?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
Because it took a while. This is since 2011.
There are too many reports of wife abuses everywhere now.
Domestic violence.
This, I'm sure it will curb a lot of people.
You think so?
Right. It also needed to take a while because this is murder and you know what the consequence will be. So you have to do your investigation very well. People are still doubting. Are you sure he stabbed her 76 times even though they took a while to, investigate?
We need to round up on this segment. Let's take some tweets so we can round up.
Okay. Obaseki Laura says, good morning. I know that Akolade is just acting up that drama to make people feel that he's innocent. He's so guilty, I beg. Blessing says, he keeps saying he didn't do it, so I'm wondering if he didn't do it. Who then did it? Only God knows. Then Prince Olukoya says, it's so sad to see people who once loved themselves end up as strangers. The outcome of any relationship depends on what you put into it.
That's a very good one because we need to talk about it on this show at some point where there's a thin line between love and hate. One second you absolutely love somebody, and the next second
you're just hating them.
And we need to understand. We need to understand where's that thin line. Where do you draw that line?
We need to bring a psychiatrist.
Number 2, women, if you have an abusive husband,
how do you know it's abusive?
He starts
you once, it's just one slap.
He starts with small slap, and then when you don't know how to watch your tongue, he gives you another slap, and then so please, when you have an abusive husband, keep a distance.
With uncontrollable rage.
Just be mute.
Keep a distance. No, don't just be mute. Keep a good distance.
Me, I'll tell you, be mute, yo.
Apart from being mute, keep a distance.
Go to the mirror and yab him in front of the mirror.
You see women who get beaten by their husbands and then they say they forgive, they go back. You go back for another
she continued forgiving. That's their own case. Because her mother-in-law, this guy's mother, said that many times she had gone back to her parents' home and she wondered when they now reconcile. You know?
That. All right, we have to round up, but yeah, we still need to look into. There's so many issues we need to dig up from this. And we need to look at it separately. Topics on their own. How to deal with an abusive relationship. We need to talk about that. All right. Up next, Sanusi Lamido's suspension and its impact on the independence of the central bank. We'll be right back. Stay with us.